Welcome to the episode 35 of the YarnderWoman Podcast.
I am Melinda, known as YarnderWoman on Instagram and Ravelry, and you are?
Melinda's mum.
Yander Mum, she's here, yay! Today is Saturday the 2nd of January 2016, so it's our first episode for the month and the year. And as always, we're coming to you from Perth, Western Australia. How are you going, Yander Mum?
Pretty good.
Are you excited for the new year?
I am. I'm getting a new washing machine.
Indeed.
What could be more exciting?
Indeed. So this will be a two-part episode. So this is the beginning of part A, because we've got a lot to talk about today. We're going to have a look at some knitting that's been happening, that has finished, as well as lots that we've been doing, but then a big recap of last year's knitting goals and a look at the goals for the year ahead. So have you got some crafting goals? You don't have to talk about them now.
I do.
Excellent, we'll bring that out later. So first up, Mum would like to show that she's wearing a nice lipstick today, because when she arrived and saw I was wearing blue, she decided she wanted to wear blue too. It wasn't quite like that, was it?
No.
I coerced her into wearing it, but we decided to go on a purple, didn't we, in the end, a grey purple?
We did.
Yes, so I thought I'd quickly show you these in case you're interested. They're both by the brand Lime Crime, and Lime Crime is first and foremost a vegan, cruelty-free company, which is what attracted them to me, but secondly and very closely, the awesome colours. So this is the Velveteens range, that's the one I'm wearing, and it makes a very matte, goes on wet but dries matte, and there's lots and lots of colours, but this is the Peacock. That was one of my Christmas presents to myself. And then they also have a standard lipstick range. This is the one Mum is wearing, sort of a grey purple, and that one's called Chinchilla. So quick recap there, but yes, I highly recommend Lime Crime. They're an American brand. I don't know if there's any stockists in Australia now or not, but you can buy online from them. So barring the bad exchange rate, they're very good, so I recommend. And let's go on and broach the subject.
Yes. When do we talk?
Now. So, go.
Hello everyone. I'm YarnderWoman's mum. I hope you all had a lovely Christmas and New Year.
Thank you. What a lovely sentiment. So for broaching the subject this episode, this is from Creep Heart, which is an Australian brooch company. And Damien's just walked past, we're just waving to him. And I've shown some of their products before. In fact, I think I showed this one when I got the order, and that was at your house when we were filming in the fern garden. Mm-hmm. So I've chosen this one because the dress I'm wearing today has, let me wriggle up, lots of phases of the moon on it, because you know that I like the moon. And not in a hippy-dippy way, and hey, if that's your thing, you go for it. But I just like the concept of the moon, and it's my birth planet, isn't it?
It is.
For my star sign. And of course there was Sailor Moon, my obsession when I was about 18 or 19. Still like Sailor Moon, it's just not an obsession. Anyway, so this one, it's got the full moon with a little smiley face and then a very lovely bat on it. And it looks particularly good against black and darker fabrics because, as you can see if I put my finger in, the moon is actually clear perspex. So it actually really highlights the facial features of the moon. So there you go. I'll put the link, of course, in the show notes. Got 3 finished objects. That became 4, maybe that's wishful thinking. 3 finished objects. So first up is the biggest one. Have a look at this. The ends aren't snipped, but that's okay. Flip it around the right way. It's my hellebore shawl. And it's pretty big, isn't it? Do you want to hold up a corner, Mama? Yeah. So this is going to be absolutely fabulous come the cooler weather, which is definitely not today. We've got the air conditioning going. Stop that now, okay. So this yarn is from One Twisted Tree, who is Danny, Prairie Girl Danny from the Prairie Girls Knit and Spin podcast, and the colourway is Shrewd Lady Mary. And the pattern is the hellebore shawl, which is designed by Susie, Prairie Girl Susie, the other half of the One Twisted Treat. The Prairie Girls Knit and Spin podcast. Oh God, I can't get it right, can I? So Susie very, very kindly gave me the pattern, and last episode we announced the winner of the gift pattern, and that has been claimed, so there'll be another one being knit soon. I really, really enjoyed this. I haven't done a lot of lace work in the knitting. So this isn't lace weight yarn. This is the Lavish base, which is a sport light DK. But it's got this lace pattern in the middle here, and these are the hellebores, the flowers. You can see there. And the idea behind the pattern was that the hellebore is one of the first flowers to flower and bloom after the snow. So it's a way of thinking about
beautiful
spring.
Flowers. I wish I could grow them in my garden.
Is it too warm here?
It is.
All right. So it's a very fun pattern. I highly recommend it. As I mentioned last time, I went off in one section on the yarn overs, and me being me, not a perfectionist, I just left them. But because I haven't sewn my ends, I'll show you. I actually stitched up a couple of the yarn overs that were really noticeably out of order, and that made a really big difference, because here you can probably still see that the yarn overs go a bit weird around here. But as I said last time, it is for me, and I don't mind at all because it's not that big a deal. So there you go, you can see it a bit better there against my arm. So it doesn't bother me in the slightest, and I think it's really, really lovely. So that will definitely go away for winter. Oh, I'll show you again because I don't think I got to that last time. At the bottom there's this beautiful trellis lace pattern, and that's really good fun to do. So I highly recommend this pattern. Should we put it on you? There we go. Tuck you in.
It's mine now.
And I used most of the 2 skeins. That was all I had left. So, because obviously the pattern was well, not obviously, sorry, I mentioned that last time. The pattern was initially written in the exact same yarn and the exact same colourway. So I knew I was on to a pretty good thing in terms of the amounts, so that was good. FO number 2, we have a Wild Goose Shawlette. Definitely a shawlette, and definitely a bit smaller than the project we just looked at, isn't it? So there we go, I'll just lay it on you again.
It's about wild goose size.
Yes, indeed, that's right. If you're going to dress a goose, get the size right. So, so the Wild Goose Shawlette is a pattern by Paula Emmons-Feasley, who is the lovely Paula from Knitting Pipeline podcast, and it was kindly given to me by Twee from the Twisted Stitches podcast. And the yarn was also kindly given to me, and that is very colourful yarnings. And the colourway is Owl Post. So it was actually from a Harry Potter kit, and this is the project bag that came with it, which is very cute. And you'll like this, Mum, because you like owls.
Ooh, they're gorgeous. You'll have to have one of those.
Sort of getting the feeling everything's going to be migrating over there today. To do a frisk you before you leave, maybe.
Probably.
Yes. So, in terms of summer being here in Australia for Christmas, I still felt, excuse me, Mum, leaning over you, this still felt like a Christmassy bag to me because, well, as well as, you know, we get lots of Christmassy things looking wintry here anyway, but in terms of merchandise and that sort of thing. It really reminded me of the cover of the Tori Amos Christmas album, Midwinter Graces, in terms of the snow flurries and whatnot. So I had a Tory link, and therefore it was more Christmassy for me. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. This is how much yarn I've got left. So I haven't weighed it yet, but that'll be enough for at least something. Maybe little wristers or something, or like half of a sock if I do, you know, the top half in that and then a bottom one. We shall see. And the inside of the bag has this lovely knit print, which is very nice. And what I did with this, the pattern, it's a paid for pattern, so I won't go into too much of specifics, but it's supposed to be a garter stitch the entire way through up until the pattern here. But because this was a self-striping yarn, every time the colour changed, I went to stockinette for the right side. So you can see it more pronounced at the bottom here when it became longer and therefore less width in the stripes. I think that looks pretty good, pretty nice effect, do you think?
I do.
This is going to be a present for my sister-in-law's mother. So parents are coming over from Japan soon. So I hope she will like that. She is a crafter and a knitter herself, so it's always a little bit more high stakes in terms of giving a present to a knitter. So I think she'll like it. Because it is so thin, it can go over the shoulders like so, but you could also wear it as a scarf because it would just go quite nicely like that, I think.
I think so.
Yes. So that is FO number 2. And finished object number 3 is something you can keep on your side, Mum, because it's for you.
Oh, yippee.
Woo.
Oh, look.
The socks.
Oh, they're gorgeous. Oh, they're just so pretty.
I haven't trimmed the ends yet, so you get that.
Oh, look. Aren't I lucky?
So I'll hold this one and I'll show you the back. So this is Knit Picks Felice yarn in the Tea Party colourway. So you like tea parties. And then I've done plain Knit Picks Stroll White for the cuff, the heel and the toe. And that worked out really nicely in not only the look of the sock, but in terms of the amount of yarn, because I only had the one ball of the Tea Party, and in the end I only had about enough of 1.5 stripes of colour left, so it's just as well I did the alternate in the white, because otherwise I would have run out. So it's just a plain vanilla sock. I think I did 66 stitches for the ribbing, and then I went down to 64. Fish Lips Kiss heel. And then the toe, you can see here there's a bit of a pattern. I started doing the star toe, which is from Lena Gerald's Skedaddle pattern, Lena being the host of the A Wee Bit Knitty podcast. And her skedaddle pattern is a free one.
Sounds like a foreign language.
It is. She's Norwegian.
Oh, well, there you go.
So, yes, free pattern, and she actually recommended it to me when I said that I wanted to try a star toe. But the reason it is flat over the top still is because it's only half a star toe, and then I ended up doing normal kitchenering because I wasn't quite sure how I was going for length, and after I got to this part, I realised that if I kept going with the star, it was going to be too long. So I just ended up doing a Kitchener. But I'm going to keep experimenting with the star toe because I really like it. You just decrease and around. Let me open it up. I know it's obviously not going to be the same because it's been kitchened in the middle, but you can see there's decreases all around. And so by the time you get down to the end, you just cinch up the last few stitches as opposed to having it flat across the top. So I will definitely experiment with that one again and play around with the length. But I'm glad you like those, Mama.
I loved them.
Yes, and these were the very last thing I knitted on in 2015. There you go.
Wow.
I dedicated that time to you.
They're called the Kathy socks
Indeed,
now.
yes. Kathy's Tea Party.
Yes. We'll have to have one.
Indeed, yes.
Mm.
We might invite you all and film along. In filming terms, we'd love to invite all of you, but we might not have enough room.
No.
But we'll let you all be a part virtually. Mum really likes them. It's good. It's good to have a knit-worthy mother, isn't it?
It is.
Yes. When we were in between segments, Mum went off to show Damien and she had to model them. Did a pose, didn't you?
Pull my trousers up.
Yes, better than down. That might have been awkward.
Who said that? It's naughty.
Not me. Okay, works in progress. You may have seen on Instagram that I started a new project for the new year, and it's the Doodler shawl. Talking of things that sound rude. By Stephen West. So this was the mystery knit along that was happening towards the end of 2015, and I believe on Ravelry they had the yearly stats up, and I think it was the most popular pattern of the year in terms of number of purchases. So I have a not such an interest in doing mystery knit alongs because I like to see how the project looks at the end, but I really liked how it looked, so I decided that would be my first cast on. And I even treated myself to some new yarn despite the horrid exchange rate in America, as in of the American dollar to Australian dollars. But I treated myself to some special yarn, and it was by One Twisted Tree again. And I got 4 skeins, and so this is kind of edging into acquisitions as well, but I'll show you now because I've already started knitting on them. So the first one is this one. What do you reckon, Mama?
Gorgeous. So different, unusual.
And that is Dream of the Cosmos.
Ooh.
And have a look. Oh, it's attached to the project, so there you go.
Yeah, look at all those different colours in there, and subdued colours.
So jewel tones.
Yes, gorgeous. Everybody see?
Yes. And yes, as you can tell by how much One Twisted Tree yarn I use, I really recommend it. It's also a company that's a sponsor for the Downseller Studio PSP, so that also gives me bonus points, which is exciting as well. So the Doodler shawl requires 3 colours, and at first I was going to have this one with the Hinky Punk, which is kind of a well-known, because it's, what colour would you call that?
A light purple.
That's about, but it looks kind of grey as well. You have to sort of turn it.
Oh yes, you can see the grey tones in it.
So it's sort of, as Susie told Danny on Prairie Girls Knit and Spin, it's like she's invented a new neutral. It's sort of grey, but then it's purple. Is it purple? Is it grey? So these are the 2 I was going to use, and I'll insert a picture here of how it looked. And as you can see from the picture, there just wasn't enough contrast. It just got lost because there's so many beautiful colours in this one. And this one, despite me having taken a grey tone photo to see how they played, if you may have heard of that trick where you take a photo in grayscale and then you can see how the young colours tones look. But I think because there's so much happening in this one, I really needed something to pop with the 3rd colour. So this is what I went for. This is definitely a pop colour.
It certainly is.
It's gorgeous. This is... Oh, I've lost all my tags. Where are we? This one is Soul of the TARDIS, so also a very cool Doctor Who reference, with me liking Matt Smith Doctor Who, which is from an episode that Neil Gaiman wrote. And it's just gorgeous. Now, do you remember, Mama, when we were at that shop that told us we couldn't afford the yarn?
Yes.
And I had an orange yarn in my hand, but it was really, really expensive. Don't you reckon that's a pretty good colour match?
I do.
Which wasn't my intention. I just thought it was a pretty orange on the website, but it just, when I got here, it was just even more gorgeous than I could remember. Than I could imagine, because, you know, monitor colours always make things look a bit different. And it's just so vibrant. So this is where I'm up to with the project. Let me just pull all my strings apart. Ta-da! What do you reckon, Mama?
Wow, that's pretty special. Got holes in it.
Yes, that's on purpose.
Oh.
The yarn overs.
Right.
So I'll hold it back here so you can see without lines in it. So there we go. So the orange, the Soul of the TARDIS, is the contrast stripe, and that really stands out more. When I first started doing it, I thought, okay, cool, the colour stands out, it's all good, and I'd done maybe 3 or something. And I was looking at it going, it is beautiful, but because it wasn't what I'd been envisaging, and I'd been planning this for weeks and weeks, probably over a month, because I'd ordered the yarn and then had to wait for it to arrive with Christmas timeframes. Danny posted it straight away, it was nothing to do with that. It was just, mail always takes longer around December. But, so yeah, I thought it wasn't what I was envisaging, and so I wasn't sure if I was happy with my new choice, but now I love it. I'm so happy. It's very different from anything I usually knit, in which case it makes an interesting first project of the year.
And
yes.
It matches your complexion.
Well, there you go. Yes. Yes, I think darker colours suit me better. I'm a bit pale, aren't I? And there's a third colour that goes with the doodler. And I think these are my 2 choices. So I've got the Hinky Punk again, or this is the 4th yarn I bought in my order, which is Rare Woman Claire, which is named after Claire, the character from Outlander. So I really like this tealy greeny colour. Let me go with my eyes almost in the lipstick. maybe that's helped decided. Maybe I'll do that one. Because my thinking was there's quite a bit of nice green in the Dream of the Cosmos, so I think that might make a nice edging colour. What do you think? So at the moment this is going to be the edging colour, which means I've got lovely Hinky Punk for a different project altogether. So we shall see what that becomes. But that's where that's up to. The bag it is living in is this one you've seen a while ago, which was made for me by the lovely Julia, who's 9crafty11, who doesn't have a shop, but maybe she will one day. Maybe. Come on, Julia. And this is the gorgeous steampunk crafting ladies with nice pockets. So I think in one of my pockets I've got my row counter and I've got some stitch markers, those sorts of things, so very handy. So that has been project number 1 for the new year. The second thing I've been working on is a long ongoing work in progress, which is my Cozy Memories blanket. And I haven't shown this one for a while, but I have done a few new squares on it, so I've put little clips. This one I think might have been yarn from Julia, who made that bag. And I say I think because with a lot of my yarns, I've got them in bags, and I've kept some of the tags that people have sent me. Oh, sorry, I should clarify. I've kept all of the tags and letters that people have sent me with the yarn they've sent, but they're not necessarily with the yarn itself. So some things I know exactly who they're from, some I know something is from that person, if that makes sense. So this square, I was halfway through when I came to pick it up, so I don't know what happened, but there's that one. So it's black with some purple at the bottom. Then I've done this one, and this was the grey from the Very Colourful Yarnings that I made the Wild Goose Shawlette from. And going along, there's this one. This one I know what it is. It's Atelier yarns in the Cylon colourway, and I used this to make my... Oh, I've gone blank. It's a pattern by Meg of Atelier Yarns that she kindly gifted me. I think it's the Big Blue. I know that's one of her patterns. I can't remember if that's the exact one. But anyway, it's on my project page. Gorgeous yarn of the greys and the red. Cylon being a reference to Battlestar Galactica. You knew that though, didn't you?
Of course.
And then this one is a lovely black. Nice tonals. And it's got a little bit of purple in it. I'm just going to pick it up in the light. Yeah. So anyway, it's all matching. So the reason I've got a few squares done, if you've watched Tiny Paper Foxes with the lovely Jenny, she has a routine where every morning before she goes to work, she sits and watches the news and she knits a square on her blanket. And I thought that was a fabulous habit to get myself into, because it's a really nice way to ground myself in a sort of meditative way, have my coffee. I don't tend to watch the news, I get most of my news online, but I can sit in the morning, or get up, get ready for work, get everything organised, and then sit with a cup of coffee in my Winnie the Pooh mug that I have for my first coffee of the day, and knit a square on my blanket. And I think that will be a way to start every day in a positive way, where I'm achieving something straight up, where I'm having that meditative reflection, and I'm going to knit on my blanket, because otherwise it doesn't tend to get much done on it. I think when I'm in the middle of a different project, like an item, as opposed to this long ongoing project, I tend to want to just keep working on those and not stop to do a blanket square like in the evening or something. So I think having this as a morning project and a morning habit is going to be very beneficial in all those ways I mentioned. Do you agree?
Absolutely.
Did I lose you somewhere along the way there?
Yeah, first sentence, I think.
Trust me, it's good.
It sounded very good.
Yes. So, just as a recap, I'll show you the blanket going across. So, I think I've got it at the width I want it to be. Do you want to hold up that end, Mama? So I think I'm going to have it as like a blanket to put over oneself while sitting on the couch or something, as opposed to a bed width. So I think this is a good width, but I can always add up the side if I decide to. So I love it. Those colours make me so happy. And I've got 2 big ones, one there and one over that Mum's got. Do you want to bring it over this way? There. What? And I really want to do another big one, but I don't want them too close together. I think they're about, just a bit more this way. See, I'm showing this big one. Here we go. There, if we do that, there are, I think, 1 row difference in height. So I want to go up a bit higher before I do any more. So I think I have to do some more in this middle section because they're only too high in that bit. So you will see a lot more of this project in the future. So Mum's showing my little stitch marker tin, which you may have seen on Instagram a long time ago, but it's Wonder Woman with cheetah, and there's a little kitty who's bigger on the back here who's tied up. And this I got from a woman in Perth who was selling off lots of her Wonder Woman merchandise. Damien and I went and stocked up on a few things. We would have loved to have taken it all, but that would have required winning the lotto, so we had to be selective. So I use this to keep stitch markers in. So at the moment there's just the little plastic lockable ones, because I'll use those on the Cozy Memories blanket to show the new ones I've done, so I can show you the fresh ones, because they're all over the place. They're not in, some people on their blankets just do rows. Because I'm just using the 4 colours, I'm just spacing them where I think the colours match. And I'll also use them because for the Down Cellar Studio PSP knit along, you can use smaller projects like that don't fit the normal yardage requirement. You can, if they're all for one thing, you can tally them all up. So I need to be able to photograph the ones that I do during the period. So I'll also show you, this is the stitch marker that I use when I'm doing my blanket. It's a little Triceratops, which is my favourite dinosaur. What's your favourite dinosaur?
I hadn't really thought about it, but I can...
You have a think. We'll ask you again at the end.
I'll go for Triceratops.
Okay, cool. Because they're very cute. And this is from Vintage Rose. And I use him as my, or her, I haven't decided, to do my decreases on the diamond. So that's my special one that only gets used for the Cozy Memories blanket. So there we go.
Cute. Might have to get one of those.
I think we need more Triceratops in our life.
That's it.
Yes. Upcoming projects that I'm planning to cast on, I'm going to be using this yarn, Knit Pick Swish Worsted, in the Lava Heather colourway. And as you can see there, catching the light, it's got a really dark licorice sort of a colour, but then there's rusty reddy colours mixed in with it, which I think looks really nice. And what I'll be using this for is to make the Handbrake Cow, which is by Kay and Dan of the Bakery Bears podcast. And that was released as a charity collection pattern, so the sales of the pattern go towards cancer research. And it's a lovely cow, and I'm going to be making this for my sister-in-law's father. So the Wild Goose Shawlette was for her mum, so I'm going to make this for her father. Because where they live in Japan is really quite a snowy mountainous area, so something nice and warm I think will be good. And he works outside a lot, so having a nice cowl for his neck I think will be quite useful. So hoping those will be cast on next time. I'm waiting for some new needles to arrive. They were from an Australian company, but because of Christmas the post has been delayed a bit, so hopefully you'll see those next time. And the other thing I'm planning to make is not knitting, but sewing. So we're going to do some sewing in the new year. So inspired by people like Isabel, Fluffy Fibres, Jenny, Tiny Paper Foxes, Kristen Vullenvine, Sarah of the Yarns at Yin Hu podcast, and everyone else who talks about sewing, I really want to make myself some skirts this year, but I'm not quite there yet because we've got to have a little practice first. So I'm going to make a skirt for my niece Emma, Yarnder Girl, that's been on the podcast, of course, many times. And this is the fabric I'm going to use. So it's a Sakura cherry blossom print in the red, pink and white, which I think she's going to love. And it's got, I don't know if it's showing up, but it's got gold shiny print in between the flowers as well. What do you think?
Gorgeous. Cherry blossoms. We went to Japan in cherry blossom season, and that was absolutely breathtaking. The colours and the flowers and all the blossoms that fell to the ground. You had a carpet of cherry blossoms. Absolutely gorgeous.
Stunning, stunning, stunning. So, as well as loving cherry blossoms, loving those colours, Emma is half Japanese and was born in Japan, so she really likes anything to do with Japan. So I think that's going to be quite a success.
I think so too.
So as well as the skirt, following along with the Make Two Along that Jenny and Tiny Paper Foxes is running, as well as Jenny's own philosophy for her making, where she makes an outfit, I'm going to be giving Emma, as well as a skirt made of this, I'm thinking of buying just a plain t-shirt and then perhaps making a little pocket detail out of the same fabric to make that an outfit. And then I'm also going to give her my view from the Charles shawlette that I showed last time. Because as I mentioned last time, I think I misread some of the decorations and I made it shorter than decorations. Instructions. At least I noticed.
Well, that would have done.
Yeah, that's right. I think everyone understood me. I misread some of the instructions and I made it shorter than it was intended to be. So whilst it does, I could twist it round and arrange it. That's obviously not properly. I could put a pin in it or something. You can definitely still wear it. The fact that these colours go so beautifully with this fabric, I just thought it would make a really nice set for Emma to have. So that's going to be going to her as part of her outfit for her birthday, as any 8-year-old young lady should have, really, I think. And I was measuring her the other day to get the measurements for her skirt, and I told her that I was going to be making her something, but it wasn't knitting. Actually, on that, I was planning on knitting her a skirt. You may remember in the last episode when I was showing the Knit Picks order, actually, Mum was in that little segment, and I bought the yarn from Knit Picks, but it wasn't machine washable, so I had been planning to make the lane splitter knitted skirt. And then I thought I could use some other kinds of yarn, but in terms of how long that would take, and given she's a child and therefore won't fit this item for a long period, so I thought that making a fabric skirt would be better in terms of the time it would take, as well as being something a bit different, and with this being a nice light cotton, she'll actually be able to wear it straight away, because her birthday being in January and in Perth, it's quite a hot time, so I think that will be good. But when I was measuring her, she was saying, "What are you making me?" And I didn't tell her. But I measured her waist and the length of the skirt she was wearing, so I do wonder if she'll guess. But she hasn't guessed thus far. But I did tell her I was giving her a shawl, but not which one, because she was pleading to know something about it. So I told her about the shawl, but not the skirt. So more on that later. We're going to the craft shop after this recording to get the elastic and some cotton. And I'll show you more of that later. So 1st of January saw the opening of our knit-along that we're running at the moment, which started out as just being the Colour Affection shawl, but is now open to any stripy shawl. And if you're not sure if your shawl counts, just earburn me in the Ravelry thread, but I'm being pretty liberal with it. As long as there's one stripe in it, I'm letting it in, because I want it to just be inclusive. So for example, I'm counting my Doodler shawl as being stripy because it has the colour contrasting stripes through it. So that's what I mean. There are shawls that are totally stripy, and then there's others that are less stripy, but they're all equal in the eyes of the stripy gods and goddesses, as it were. So you can use the hashtag YW Stripy Shawl Cal 16, YW being YarnderWoman, of course, on Instagram and in Ravelry, and so show what you're working on. The cal's running from January, February and March, so it's quite a long one, and you can knit as many stripy shawls as you like during that period. I will be doing a Colour Affection, which was the whole impetus behind the cal in the first place, but I'm going to finish my doodler, or at least get a lot more work done on it yet, because as I'll talk about more in the goals segment, I don't want to have too many projects on the needles at once.